The drones that you're seeing in New Jersey look like they come from a company called Dynamics. They are named XP-4, X-Ray Papa-4. Now, this aircraft has been documented in a magazine that the Navy has issued and worked with them with the contract to develop these for logistics. And they're really interesting aircraft because they're vertical takeoff. They remind me of the Osprey aircraft that the Marine and Navy uses themselves. But why are we seeing them in New Jersey? Let me tell you something about defense contractors. I've worked with a defense contractor, and you just can't go and practice and do tests and trial runs in a city, especially if the city is questioning you, you would stop doing that. So I'm very curious why, and they're very distinct because they could both fly vertically. They look like a drone and an aircraft.
All right, everybody, you better buckle in because this is going to be intense. We're going to be talking about countermeasures and essentially how to counter an unmanned aircraft system. I'm going to be sourcing and referencing an incredible book written by Lieutenant Colonel Andre Hayter. I'm assuming that this is like the book for unmanned aircrafts, and it's one of the most recent books that is available to the public, and the title is A Comprehensive Approach to Countering Unmanned Aircraft Systems. We're only going to be glossing over the topics of what type of methods you could be utilizing. Okay, starting on page 323, we're going to go ahead and go through the options that you have, or the military has, or Homeland Security, or whoever is in charge of our defense, either it be the government or ourselves. So the first thing is employment of weapons. This is a very obvious choice, and he starts off with saying the most obvious military resource in drone defense is the use of force of arms. These assets may be, for example, air defense systems to engage the drone itself, or firearms employed against the drone's operators. We're going to go to the next one because that's self-explanatory. Electronic jamming. Now, before I read this, this has literally been done. This has been done for decades, and this is not hard to do. So the drones flying around that we don't know who they are, the fact that we're not jamming them says a lot. Okay, let's just read a quick sentence. Defense actions that has become a de facto standard in both the military and police sectors in recent years is the jamming or spoofing of radio communications between drone and operators, as well as drone and satellite. All right, so essentially they're able to jam the signals, and the next part is really going to tie it together. Wireless networks. Commercial drones use various frequency bands for their data links, including the range between 2.4 and 5.8 gigahertz. So they know what bands commercial drones use, and they could easily jam or spoof them. If these are literally commercial drones, they would have been jammed not only by local police or by the government. I mean, it would have been really easy for them to do that. So again, this capability has been out for a long time. Okay, the next thing, this is a little more recent. Mobile radio networks. Recent drone models are capable of using mobile radio networks to establish data connections. Electronic countermeasures in this area would presumably cause at least local communication failures in the mobile radio network affected. So essentially what they're saying is that drones are able to tap into the mobile networks, and they're able to get information, probably get GPS coordinates, probably get whatever information they need to operate their drone by using this network. Now, our government and Homeland Security and so on are able to prevent that, and what they're saying is that they would cut that network. It would have an impact on civilians, but it would accomplish the goal of disrupting the operations of the aircraft. All right, the next one is pretty cool, and also nothing new. Essentially, a lot of this has been applied to manned aircrafts, but this one says navigational systems. Usually many drones use the global positioning system, GPS, to determine their altitude and position. Due to the relatively weak GPS signal strength, the system can easily be jammed or spoofed. And if they do that, essentially the drone can have a hard time navigating and can end up crashing. So this is another thing they could do, and they are able to do. So the drones that are flying around, everything we talked about is really easy for them to do against these drones. And then the last one is the most recent one, and this is cyber attacks. And essentially they combine everything that we talked about, but they essentially hack into networks. They try to hack into the operator. They essentially try to take control of the aircraft themselves. And the crazy thing is that they could do that now and essentially land the aircraft anywhere they wanted to and investigate what's going on. So it tells us that these are the methods that are known to be used. This is literally written, this is probably utilized by the government, this book, and this tells you that these are all the countermeasures they're able to do, but they're not doing. So hopefully you're more informed about it, but it's definitely very interesting.
Our government just put out a major press release, a joint statement by all the fancy alphabet agencies, FBI, Homeland Security, blah, blah, blah. And you want to know what they just said? They said that we've been imagining everything, that there's nothing wrong, there's nothing been going on, that we're just seeing regular drones flying around, and that there's over 1 million registered drones, and that everything we've been seeing is just normal stuff, and that there's nothing to worry about. Guys, you want proof? The Manhattan Project was secret for years, for a long, long time. Not a single person leaked it because they were threatened if they did because of national security. It was so secret that no one knew until they dropped the bomb. So if you don't think the government keeps secret, that's the only proof you need. The Manhattan Project was under the umbrella of the Department of Energy, and they literally lied to Russia. They lied to people for electronics, copper, uranium. This is what they do. Whatever reason they're hiding, they're not going to tell us, and it's very disrespectful in my opinion. It's like a slap in our face. People are saying it's gaslighting. This is just ridiculous. And if you saw that video with President Biden where he can't even talk, they're just treating us like children. And to be honest with you, like, that's just wrong, like completely wrong. And at the end of the day, like, shame, right? Shame on them.